In our very first story, Interior Minister Mohammed Muntaka is rejecting claims the security detail at the private residence of the EC chairperson Jean Mensah at Labone has been withdrawn. A visit by our news team revealed no visible police presence, with the once heavily guarded entrance now quiet and the police barricade removed. This development comes just days after NDC National Chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia called for the dismissal of Jean Mensah and her two deputies. Here's what we observed.
So that right there is the residence of the EC chair, Jean Mensah, and the security detail here has been withdrawn. Ordinarily, if you get here, you're going to see a police checkpoint with men in uniform guarding the place, but it is a different case as at now, and we do not know whether they have been reassigned, whether she has traveled, or what the case is. But what we know right now is that there is no security detail here as it used to before. The police barricade has been moved onto the other side of the road, resting here, which is not what it used to be. You can see the police checkpoint with the inscription written "Stop" there, being pushed to the other side of the road, which ordinarily would have been placed somewhere here to ensure that the EC chair is giving the adequate security that she and her family needs. But it is not here now. But we do not know, as I mentioned earlier, whether or not she is in the country, she has traveled, or what the case is. But what we can confirm to you now is that there is no security whatsoever if you come to the residence of the EC chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah.
While speaking to JoyNews, the Interior Minister said the chairperson's military detail has been replaced with police officers.
We agreed that we were no longer going to use military to provide what was civilian protection. So a job was withdrawn and replaced with a police. So if you ask her, she will tell you she has a bodyguard, she has police manning her gate both day and night, and therefore it is never true if anybody says that her security has been withdrawn. What we do generally is to provide security around every neighborhood. But VVIPs, like the chair of the, Electoral Commission, she has a personal bodyguard. Her gate is manned 24/7, just like the Chief Justice, just like the Speaker of Parliament, and all others. And that we are doing. And I'm sure you can call her and find out, and she can confirm that, no, she has both her and her deputies, her office is protected.
But what went into the decision to withdraw the military and replace with the police?
Why should the military be performing civilian functions? I mean, our country is not at war. Why should you draw in the military? I mean, you know, the use of military sometimes sends wrong signal to the ordinary citizens. Police are trained with a civilian mind. The military are supposed to concentrate to provide security for our external or territorial integrity. So when we draw them in, we are reducing the number of personnel that the military has to perform those difficult tasks that is usually performed by the military.
Is this exercise going to be limited to the EC chair alone, or are we going to see this cut across all?
Everywhere. I mean, you can find out from the former defense minister, you can find out from almost all the civilians that were using militia. All of that has been withdrawn. All that without exception. And this is a decision that we took as a new government, and that's our policy, no civilian. And we've even encouraged our own members who are ordinarily, before they took the offices that they were occupying, some persons were providing military service to them. Yet, when we came, we decided that everybody should be protected with police, and that's what we are doing.
Right, but our independent checks at her residence, it shows that at the time we went, though, there were no police officers on the ground.
That's not true. We don't, I mean, who says that providing security to me as interior minister is to see police all over the streets around my house? They are supposed to be manning my gate. And that's what we are doing. And I'm saying that far out from her, are people minding her gate? Yes, they are minding her gate. They are following her wherever she goes. Yes.
All right. Finally, before I let you go, let's get clarity. Did you have a communication with her prior to the withdrawal of the military?
Yes, I personally did with her. You can ask her, and she'll tell you I did.
You wrote to her or you called her?
I called her. I spoke to her. All those involved, you can ask the former defense minister. I called them personally to give them head start and gave them when it was even going to start. All that.
And they were in agreement?
It's not about you agreement. We are supposed to provide security for you. And we are telling you that this is how we are going to do it. It's not for you to agree and disagree.
Meanwhile, security analyst Festus Abuaji has backed the decision by the state to withdraw the military security detail stationed at the EC chairperson's residence, insisting such a duty is police function.
We stipulate that the military shall provide security, let's say, for a public official like the EC. It is a function of the police, and all that we have known from Dr. Afarijan's time, at least, to Madame Charlotte Osei, there was no EC that had military protection. We need, therefore, to ask, what changed in the security dynamics of this country that since 2017, the authorities then decided that the EC shall be protected by the military? And the EC person is not one that must entitle anybody military protection. Indeed, I would suggest that the outgoing government must explain to Ghanaians why it considered it necessary to use the military in the roles that it did, not only in elections, but all over the place.
Away from that, President Maham has disclosed that the Attorney General, Dominic Ayine, is drafting a proposal for cabinet consideration to ensure victims of recent past electoral violence receive fair compensation. Addressing participants at the post-2024 election evaluation dialogue, the president stressed that those responsible for electoral violence will face justice. He also said he is committed to implementing the recommendations of the Constitution Review Committee.
Elections are by nature high-stake events. They are contests of ideas and ideologies, often influenced by deeply held convictions and competing visions for national development. While Ghana once again demonstrated its democratic resilience in the 2024 elections, culminating in a largely peaceful transfer of power, we cannot ignore that the process was marred by isolated acts of violence in some constituencies. Let me use this platform to unequivocally condemn these acts of violence and call for swift accountability for the perpetrators. I requested that the IGP expedite investigations into these acts of electoral violence and bring the perpetrators to justice. The Attorney General is also working on a report to be presented to Cabinet for adequate compensation to be paid to victims and relatives of those affected by the violence. Let me take this opportunity to commend the Electoral Commission, our security services, civil society organizations, political parties, and the electorate for their collective role in ensuring that Ghana's democratic credentials remain intact after the 2024 election. But we must go further. Our political differences must never become tools for division, mistrust, or violence. the disbandment of party vigilante groups through the passage of the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999, was a step in the right direction, and it has reduced politically motivated violence to some extent. The National Peace Council and its partners have built upon this legal framework to roll out public education campaigns, strengthen the capacity of electoral management bodies, and mobilize youth and civil society actors to promote peace before, during, and after elections. And let me stand and assure you that I'll do everything in my strength and my power to ensure that the recommendations of the National Constitutional Review Committee are implemented.
At the same forum, the National Peace Council put forward several key proposals, including a recommendation to reduce the president appointing authority. Here's Chairman Most Reverend Emmanuel Fiano outlining the council's recommendations.
Your Excellency, the following recommendations were made at this year's post-elections dialogue. 1. Reform the appointing authority and power of the executive president. For example, the appointment of the Chief Justice, the appointment process of the Council of State, the appointment of the Inspector General of Police, appointment of metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives, etc. 2. Reduce the influence of the President in the partisan appointment of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission is appointed on the advice of the Council of State. This advice must be applied perfectly, and the eligibility criteria should be complex and robust, and enhance the independence and credibility of the Electoral Commission. 3. The moment to review the 1992 Constitution is now. We have made 2 attempts. We need strong political will to implement the recommendations that will come out of the current Constitutional Review Committee to help us cure the challenges of the 1992 Constitution.
Well, the minority in Parliament are demanding that the government put before Parliament a law to guide the implementation of the 24-hour economy. The policy, which was a central plank in the NDC's 2024 campaign, was launched this week with private entities to receive incentives, including tax breaks, if they implement a 24-hour shift. MP for Mensah South, Nana J. Bafo, says the law is necessary to prevent abuses.
We should be grateful if the venerable majority leader would take steps to make available to this House the legal framework governing all these entrepreneurship programs, the 24-hour economy, the Jimira program, and all those that were approved in this year's budget. Mr. Speaker, the reason being that various entrepreneurship programs have run in this country. The country has expended a lot of money on these programs. Oftentimes, Mr. Speaker, the results are difficult to measure. Scandals have broken as a result, Mr. Speaker, because there is no legal framework governing them. And Mr. Speaker, I am inspired and guided on this path for a call to a legal framework to govern these programs by an article which was written by the majority leader, where he said that oftentimes because of discretion, extensive discretion which are given to the persons that run these programs, which is why we don't see the results that we are supposed to see, which is why there are sometimes corrupt outcomes, Mr. Speaker. And so it is important the majority leader is inspired by his own article and ensure that we have a legal framework governing these programs to
Minority leader has also been speaking on this matter, and he argues that the 24-hour economy policy by the NDC is a public relations stunt.
Now you say that the 24-hour economy policy will require 4 billion. Meanwhile, you've only a paltry sum of 300 to 400 million in public funding by way of commitment. And you say the rest is on a private sector investment promises. Very vague. Very vague. You go on a campaign platform to create the impression that you have something of value. Then you come with a vague promise that the rest is private sector. Meanwhile, there are no incentives for the private sector. Since they came into office, they should share with us a single incentive they've introduced for the private sector. Even the 1D, 1F policy, you've cancelled it. Then you say the rest of it is coming from the private sector. I want to ask the government, and I want Minister, Leader of Government Business to take this on board. The heavy dependence on the PPPs and the SPVs without clarity on structure, risk sharing, or funding sources makes this vague. So they should come again. 2, non-alignment with Ghana's debt sustainability plan and the IMF program still makes this policy vague. No medium-term fiscal framework or concrete revenue mobilization strategy to support this program makes it vague. The risk of off-balance sheet liability that could burden taxpayers also makes this vague. Mr. Speaker, we in the minority see this as a mere PR tool to distract from real-time economic hardship and win public goodwill.
Away from Parliament, the Ghana Police Service has arrested 2 individuals claiming to be national security operatives and 3 others during a major operation targeting illegal mining activities in the Jimira Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. The suspects were picked up in the forest enclave during a dawn swoop conducted by a combined team of police and forestry commission officers as part of renewed efforts to clamp down on illegal mining, which continues to devastate forest and water bodies. Nana Bwachi Yadon joined the operation and joins us live on Zoom. Nana, tell us more about this particular operation today.
Well, Carlos, this operation was led by the Ghana Police Service in collaboration with the Forestry Commission, and it was to some specific forest reserves in the Ashanti region. But today's target was totally on the Jimira Forest Reserve at the Atwimawabija South constituency. And the police, alongside the Forestry Commission, made their way into the forest reserve to assess the rate of destruction that have been done by illegal miners to this reserve. And so clearly, this is how the operation started. At 5 a.m., we moved from Kumasi, went straight to the Jimira Forest Reserve, started the operation from Kobing. We went through to Nkonting, and then ended at Amanshia. And all of these areas that I have mentioned, we have the Jimira Forest Reserve cutting through all of these areas. And so that was the scope of the operation this dawn to this evening.
All right. What is the rate of destruction based on the places you've been to?
Well, Carlos, the Jimira Forest Reserve is over 63 kilometers square. And as per observation, we realized that major parts of the forest reserve have been taken over by illegal miners. And in fact, from Kobing all the way to Nkonting, we realized that illegal miners have taken over the place from the surface to even the inner perimeter of the forest reserve. All of that places, or all of those places, have been taken over by illegal miners. Despite all the attempts by the president to curb this canker, we realized that they have brought in new earth-moving machines. In fact, at Nkobing, the illegal miners have bought new excavators, brand new pumping machines, which were all seized today. And so it tells you that although efforts are being put in place to curb the canker, the destruction continues with the illegal miners still bringing in new equipment to continue destroying our lands and our forest reserves.
And finally, about the suspected national security operatives, how did the police actually manage to get them arrested?
Well, this operation was done, or they were arrested, I must say, at Isase-Bontefo when the police made an important stop to check into the community to see whether or not illegal miners are in there. And so according to these 2 individuals who were arrested, they are in to protect the reserve, or they are in to protect the mining site. They did not tell us what protecting the mining site really means, but they tell us that they have the authorization of the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator to protect the site. And so upon hearing this, the police decided to arrest them, describing the attempt or describing what they say as protecting the site as illegal. And so they are being arrested at the moment and being kept at the Ashanti Regional Police Command as I speak to you right now.
All right. Thank you so much for those details from the Ashanti region. Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament are already demanding answers from the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah for what they say is the failing fight against Galamsey under the current administration. Delivering remarks on the floor of Parliament, Minority Chief Whip Frank Ano-Dompre insisted that the minister be brought before the House to answer questions.
Speaker, it's heart-wrenching that farm products harvested in the areas of parts of Eastern region and you name and its environs. I see my respected MPs here. It is reported that mercury is found in some of these farm products. It may be true or not. It's been widely reported. Now, the Galamseyers are now heading to the main road, the Accra-Kumasi road. It's under threat. It's under threat. Turbidity levels of our water bodies getting out of hand. We can't be silent as the people's representatives. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Jimira Ama Kofi-Boah, who has refused, and the executive, backed by the executive, refused to bring the mining lease agreement. Anytime I raise it, majority leader will say, oh, I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement. It is one thing being in agreement, and it's another thing raising the matter and convincing cabinet to ensure that this agreement is brought to this house. Why would the executive take us for granted? Up to now, it's been more than a month. Goldfields that are mining 3 months. And the people's representatives have still not seen these agreements. Coupled with the fact that water bodies are being destroyed, farmlands are being destroyed with its intended effect of food security, we can't keep quiet. Ama Kofi-Boah should find his way here. Next week, he should be the next minister on the bill. Apart from the energy minister, the lands minister should be here. Unless, of course, you are telling us that now you are not interested in the Galamsey fight. Then the people of this country will know.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime with me, Carlos Coloni. We'll take a short break. When we return, we have business. Please stay.
Welcome back to Business. My name is Winston Take. Now to our first business story. Ghana's upstream petroleum sector has reached a major milestone following the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition's announcement of the formal submission of a declaration of commerciality for the Eban Akuma oil and gas discoveries in Cape 3 Point Block 4. Speaking to Joy Business, Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Sia, urged government and stakeholders to adopt a vertical business model to fully maximize the benefits of the oil sector.
I think as a country, we need a vertical business model where we integrate our upstream to our downstream. It's something that we failed over the years. And we're able to create that particular vertical model. I believe that Ghana will get a full potential of the oil sector. For example, this new discovery is going to increase our output, means that we need to rechannel some of this output to BOST. And when we do that, it means that we are creating jobs and also redirect some products from Thor to the downstream. And that means that we're adding value, and value addition to our product also means creating jobs for the teeming youth who may not have jobs. And also the oil income, we need to critically look at the 919 or 873, which is Petroleum Revenue Management Act. I think that when you look at that particular act carefully, it doesn't do us good because the act mentions a lot of areas that we need to invest in. And these areas, based on PIAC reports, have not yielded the kind of investment we need. I think that we need to have certain specific 4 key areas, whether agro-processing, so that we use the funds from our upstream, direct them to agro-processing or any other infrastructure development or any other investment that will yield job creation as well as promote certain development in our country.
Now, away from that, as part of activities marking its 60th anniversary, the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, has organized a health walk at the Aviation Social Center in Accra to foster team spirit and promote wellness among staff. The event, which brought together management and employees, falls in line with the bank's anniversary tagline, ADB Beyond Banking.
Speaking to journalists after the walk, Managing Director of ADB, Edward Atusapon, highlighted the bank's renewed focus on becoming a customer-centric institution. He outlined 3 pivotal actions the bank is undertaking to enhance its services and better connect with its clients.
Number 1, we have just introduced our excellence culture. So we are changing our culture to serve the customers better. That's number 1. Number 2, we have just launched our digital transformation program, and the digital transformation program is intended to put the bank in the palm of all our customers, so they can do whatever they want to do just by the click on their phone. That's the second thing that we are doing. The third thing that we are doing is that we are very liquid at the moment in terms of liquidity. We are one of the most liquid banks in Ghana, and so we are introducing a number of products. We've just introduced a product that's targeted at women. We've just started a women's desk. We've just started an Asian desk. We've just started a youth desk. We've just started a business advisory unit within the bank. All is intended to work with the customers.
Mr. Sapon also revealed ADB's goals to position itself among the top 3 banks in Ghana, signaling a new era of growth and competitiveness in the country's financial sector.
Already in the first half of the year, our performance has exceeded anything that we've done in the last 3 years. It's an indication that ADB is in the right direction. We are looking to be among the top 3 banks in Ghana. That's our vision, and we are working aggressively at it. So in the next 3 years, we'll be in the top 3 banks in Ghana. We intend to be the most profitable bank in Ghana, and we are working at it. And the performance in the first half of the year has exceeded expectation, and we hope to work towards that part of delivering excellence for our customers and for our stakeholders.
The health walk forms part of a series of events commemorating ADB's 6 decades of service to Ghana, particularly in agricultural financing and national development.
That's all for business here on Newsline. My name is Winston Taki. Back to Carlos Caloni for the rest of the bulletin.